What causes a man to brutally murder his loving wife and mother to his children?
He is a manipulative bully. He's a bully because he's a perpetrator of domestic violence. And that's what this is all about.
He felt entitled to kill her. She was his. He could kill her if he wanted to. And he was full of rage as well. But, you know, some killers just plan the killing, but some plan to get away with it as well. And he was one of those.
We meet those who came face to face with the killer.
There was no remorse there to try and identify his crime.
Personal opinion, I think he was playing a game.
He was born a killer and that was always within him.
He was a respected father and husband to others, but a lifetime of rage would ultimately expose the killer within.
Her death was, make no mistake, a punishment. Homicide was something that was always inside of Ahmed.
I remember there was 2 trees like this, and one tree here was.
Right. So when you say there's 2 trees like that and 1 tree here?
Yeah.
Where did you bury Rania?
In the middle.
In between the trees?
Yes.
So, you're saying there's 2 trees there like that, and then another tree, and you buried it in between the 2 trees.
On the 4th of July 2013, police arrested a man in connection with the disappearance of 25-year-old Rania Alayad from Cheetham Hill, Manchester.
We had worried friends, worried family that were explaining to us that it's not like Rania, this behaviour is unusual. Can we just take a look at it as the police, which is what we did initially.
The man in custody was her husband, Ahmed Al Khatib. Detectives had significant evidence to show that he had trapped, beaten and murdered his wife. But they were missing one crucial thing: a body.
The usual starting point for any crime scene or murder case usually is the body.
Rania was, by all accounts, a lovely human being. She didn't deserve that. We wanted to find her body for her as much as anyone.
It all began nearly 3,000 miles away in Syria, where a refugee family dreamt of a new life away from their war-torn home.
Ahmed Al Khatib was a man from Syria. He was married to Rania and they had young children together. They moved to the UK looking for a better life after what they experienced in Syria. And he seemingly had this great family and normal life going on.
She came here because she wanted to give her children a better life than she had had. She was a bright woman, she was an ambitious woman, and she had a vision for the future for her and her family.
Rania was just 15 years old when she married Ahmed Al Khatib. He was 22.
Rania and Ahmed met in the refugee camp in Syria and got engaged quite young and quite fast. They also got married very quickly. This is not uncommon, although you can imagine for a young girl that must have been scary to go from living with her family, engaged and married and pregnant, all within the span of a year. It must have been very difficult for her to go through.
He met Rania through his brother and Rania's sister. They were actually married, so that's how they met. It was a marriage of love, not an arranged marriage.
Rania had no way of knowing what the man she married would go on to become: a killer.
To understand what it's like to be someone like Ahmed, we have to put ourselves in his shoes to see the world from his perspective. I think that we should consider his background. His background is that he came from a war-torn country. He was raised in a refugee camp where he would have witnessed a lot of hardship and violence. He came from a culture where men have to be masculine, macho.
As a child, Al Khatib struggled to find his place amongst his brothers.
He was teased when he was younger because his skin colour was a lot darker than his brother's skin colour, and that he felt bullied in relation to that.
These were people that were close to him, that he respected. That was probably very hurtful to him. But it also normalized it, and it showed you can treat people that you're close to this way, and this is a normal thing. So it would have felt more normal in a way to treat Rania with the same level of harshness and maybe disrespect that his brothers treated him. While there's an increased risk if you're bullied to go on and do other antisocial things to include offending, that doesn't mean it's causal.
As a teenager, Al Khatib began to change. He became withdrawn and aggressive. His new behavior worried his parents, who took him to an imam, a local religious leader. They feared he was possessed by what's known in Islamic culture as jinn.
The concept of jinn is something that is a common feature in South Asian or Middle Eastern communities. So in the same way that people believe in ghosts, they think they may have seen them. So in many ways it's not much different, or it's not that unbelievable. So it's the idea of evil presenting itself in some form. So there's more people who might believe in this than is more commonly thought.
The imam took drastic action, taking him for spiritual healing.
He actually underwent an exorcism where they tried to get this out of him. And you have to imagine that must have been an unusual, if not traumatic experience, being told that you're so bad that you have the devil in you, but also the fact that they were able to do something like that and put an idea in his brain that when people act badly, there's this external cause and excuse for it.
It points to the lack of education around mental health, and in some cultures, auditory or visual hallucinations are attributed to being possessed or spirits, and in Ahmed's culture, the idea of the jinns or the spirits being the reason or the cause of certain behaviour. And we know that early on in his life, Ahmed had displayed some emotionally unstable behaviour, and his parents at that point took him to see an exorcist and appeared to reinforce the narrative that this was the work of the jinn. So that was something that Ahmed then subsequently began to believe in, and that was then his reason and a way out.
His parents would have thought he was possessed, but perhaps he was just a violent thug back then. Perhaps they felt there was some badness in him.
The disturbing behaviour, originally attributed to jinn, escalated when he married 15-year-old Rania.
Ahmed was quite a violent man. He had violent tendencies. He was an aggressive man. We know with violent men that for them to perpetrate aggression against women, it's likely that it would have been present very early on, but in its subtle forms, and then over the years, it would have become more physical.
Ahmed was using violence to keep Rania under the thumb, to make sure she did as she was told, to make sure she knew who was boss.
The move to Stockton-on-Tees in the northeast of England would only intensify the violence.
Syria was very violent, going through civil war, and all of the trauma that she had experienced, and then ending up in a refugee camp. The idea that she finds a husband, the fact that they are able to leave and go to the UK, which is a promised land for them in their minds, she probably felt like she was very indebted and owed him. For him to offer that to her was probably, in her mind, like a knight in shining armor. However, while he wanted it, he also saw the added benefit of having the ability to separate her from others.
In 2009, they moved again, this time 113 miles away to Manchester, where they could be closer to Al Khatib's family. The move did nothing to curb his behaviour. He became even more controlling, manipulative, and violent. Rania, however, was still hoping for her happy ever after. 8 years after moving to the UK, Ahmed Al Khatib would unleash the killer within.
Rania was his property. He should be able to do whatever he wanted, however he wanted. The only response that he knew was to react aggressively and violently.
Rania Alayad and Ahmed Al Khatib had moved to the UK from a Syrian refugee camp to build a better life. But things were far from perfect. Away from her ravaged home, Rania faced a new danger: her husband.
The violence continued, throwing things at her, such as dinner plates if he wasn't happy with the meal that she had cooked. He became angry with her because she didn't know how much to cook when they were inviting people over, so that would end up in arguments and violence.
Rania was from a country that had very strong cultural traditions and rules, and those kinds of traditions that put relationships into hierarchies. She would have been expected to do as she was told.
Both Rania and Al Khatib had to get used to the differences between Syria and their new home.
When they came to the UK, there would have been stressors for both of them. This is a new culture, a new life, so much to learn, languages to learn, employment might not have come easy. So it would have been a stressful time.
She would have come from a collectivist background, an honour culture where everything is mostly focused around groups and family. So without her family, just her and her husband and their child when they arrived here, it would have been very different.
Rania was really hoping for this peaceful, normal life. She was looking to and willing to embrace these Western values, such as women being educated and even employed. So she was really enthusiastic about this while also still maintaining some of her roots.
Rania's embracing of Western culture infuriated Al Khatib.
Rania was very much starting to live her own life, becoming quite westernised, going to college, having friends.
However, Ahmed saw that completely as a threat, that he would lose his ability to control her if she was able to branch out, if she had friends, if she was educated.
Rania would be living a life dominated by coercive control and abuse and violence. She would have been trapped in this relationship, and that would have been his purpose. That's what he's trying to achieve. Coercive control is when somebody wants to trap you in a relationship, stop you from being able to leave or do anything that furthers yourself. Coercive control is a pattern of behaviour that is highly dangerous. It raises the risk of homicide greatly. And, in the UK, we have criminalised it. It's so dangerous.
So his mindset, to me, it suggests that he was very entitled. He believed that he was entitled to his will, so that would have been his sexual will. Violence towards her would be to punish her.
He's hit her, punched her, dragged her by her hair, thrown items at her. There is indication on an occasion that he has pulled her by the hair. He actually stripped the clothes off, slapped her.
Rania also alleged that her husband had raped her on several occasions.
Her friends, and family would indicate knowledge of the violence and would give what they saw. So they might have seen bruises, they might have seen pictures of which she'd taken of bruises. She certainly took some from around her neck. Some friends saw the aftermath of food on ceilings and broken plates, within the kitchen, which supported Rania to the fact that she was subject to violence from him.
After 10 years of marriage, the relationship reached breaking point.
There were domestic issues within the family, which basically culminated in January 2013.
According to police reports, Rania had been putting makeup on before heading out to college. Al Khatib demanded she remove it before taking her mobile phone. The argument soon turned violent.
Rania fled from their home to a neighbour's house.
I think she thought he was going to kill her, and she started phoning the police.
The fact that she actually reached out and phoned the police in itself is such a bold and brave act. This idea that females have to be obedient and subservient. For them, they should fulfill their husband's needs, and that is far more important than her own. So it seems that the honour is always based within the woman's actions. So she's between a rock and a hard place. She has no choice but to stay because there's so many barriers to leave him. She knew her life was at serious risk.
This incident became the catalyst for Rania leaving her husband.
The point at which he decided he was going to kill her probably came near on as soon as she left. He would never, ever have accepted that.
She started to build her new life without violence, without control, and without Al Khatib.
Rania was living her own life without him and was being reasonably successful. She was learning English at college. She had high aspirations for her children and doted on her children.
When Rania started to get some independence, that would have been a threat to him. The idea that she has her own needs and wants and desires and wishes, and that she's able to do this by herself, would have been very difficult for him to take on board. There's a hint here of it affecting his masculinity. This person no longer is under his control, and that was a big trigger for him.
Rania was still concerned about Al Khatib's behaviour, so in January 2013, she obtained a non-molestation order against him, meaning he could not come near her ever again. She would be safe, or so she thought.
He was absolutely seething, and all of that time that she was moving forward, he was plotting and scheming about her demise.
On the 7th of June 2013, Al Khatib put his plan into action.
His brother said that he would take the children for the weekend in order to give her a break.
Thinking she was getting a weekend off, Rania agreed.
Rania going there, just thinking she was going to drop the kids off for the weekend.
But it was a trap.
She made the decision to trust Ahmed's brother. Unfortunately, little did she know when she took the children round, Ahmed was lying in wait.
Rania was once again face to face with the man she had tried so hard to escape.
His brother left the flat with the children. Ahmed and Rania ended up in an argument.
It's not known exactly how, but the evidence suggested the argument escalated quickly.
And we then believe that was where she was killed.
Al Khatib violently attacked Rania before killing her.
What we know is that we did find blood at the property. It was identified back as Rania's blood, and we do believe that she died in that property.
It does seem like she may have been strangled to death. For a husband who shared a life with this woman and who had children with this woman, that would be an exceptionally horrific way to kill her, because he could feel every single thing as it was occurring to her. If she was struggling to breathe, he could notice that. It's particularly horrific, but it also probably demonstrates the anger that he felt towards Rania for not obeying him, and I'm sure that contributed to why he killed her in that way.
After Ahmed killed Rania, he probably would have felt, first of all, a sense of relief that it was over, that he had won, that he had punished her for leaving him, that he had gained control back. He wouldn't be feeling remorse or shame or guilt.
Police believe Al Khatib had been planning to kill Rania for months. Less than an hour after murdering her, CCTV caught the moment he began covering his tracks.
We believe that what happened in the flat was that after Ahmed had killed Rania, Ahmed then dressed in Rania's clothing in order to try and throw us off the scent. He wanted to be seen on CCTV in Rania's clothing, so it looked like Rania was still alive.
The only reason he would have done that was for somebody to mistake him for her, so that there's a witness to her being alive at a time then he will have an alibi for after that.
After dressing up as his murdered former partner, Al Khatib returned to his brother's apartment to change into his own clothes to clean up the crime scene. Al Khatib was not alone. His two brothers stepped in to help him dispose of Rania's body.
What we also know is she was transported in a suitcase from that property into a vehicle, a camper van, and transported to the deposition site.
For him to even feel comfortable enough to share an idea as wild and outlandish and horrific as, I'm going to premeditate murder of my wife and I want you to help me get away with it.
The fact that his brothers were involved indicates there might be some elements of honour involved in this. But the fact that they helped move the body, being involved together collectively, it goes back to what's better for the group. Their sister-in-law leaving their brother may have been seen as an insult to the family. They may have had to override their own personal beliefs because the group is more important than the individual.
That evening, Al Khatib and his brothers travelled in the family camper van with Rania's body in a suitcase.
She was taken within the suitcase, and due to the vehicle having problems with the, I think, acceleration brakes, that they stopped probably sooner than they wanted. He got out, went towards a wooded area, came back for the suitcase, and then went into the wooded area and said that he'd buried her.
From his perspective, it seemed that he had a justification for what he did. He blamed her. It was her fault that she was in this position, that she made him do that.
Al Khatib's anger towards his wife brought out the killer within, but his manipulative nature would not stop at her.
He controls everyone around him. He just thinks he's better than everyone else, and he will manipulate and manipulate and manipulate until the day he dies.
On the 7th of June 2013, Rania Alayed had been brutally murdered by her estranged husband, Ahmed Al Khatib. Within hours of the murder, he had already disposed of Rania's body and had started the second phase of his plan, to make it look like she was still alive.
He got somebody to take her phone abroad so that it would look like she had upped and left the country, almost no bother, no point looking for her. She's gone back to Syria or somewhere, something that he thinks that we would think was plausible. And he was sending messages from her social media as well to make it look as if she was still alive.
At first, Al Khatib's plan worked. Believing the messages were from her, members of her family had no reason to raise the alarm straight away.
This would have really confused her family, thinking why she left and not mentioned anything to us. So that indicates a great deal of cunning and manipulative behaviour on his behalf, because it seems the only person he was thinking about in all of this was himself.
Within a few weeks, on the 2nd of July 2013, Rania was officially declared a missing person after her uncle contacted police, having not seen Rania for almost 3 weeks. 2 days later, police paid Al Khatib a visit to ask him about the last time he saw his estranged wife.
When the police came to speak to him, his story was all around, well, she's run away, she's disappeared.
Detectives didn't buy Al Khatib's story. When officers did a routine search, they found cannabis on him. This gave them an opportunity to arrest Al Khatib and bring him in for questioning.
The information which really was coming to light when Ahmed Al Khatib was being arrested was probably the stories weren't fitting from family members and from friends.
Detectives' suspicions were raised further when the family were giving different versions of events.
The children were indicating that she was in hospital. Then there was indication that she's gone over to Syria via Turkey. So it was quite a few things which just weren't fitting at the time.
Later that day, on the 4th of July 2013, he was arrested and charged with the murder of Rania. But this didn't seem to faze Al Khatib, who in interviews was arrogant and manipulative.
Ahmed was being communicative. He was calm, he was collected, but that could have been an act.
Al Khatib denied any wrongdoing.
At any time, he could have told us where Rania was.
He wanted to show that he was more than more intellectual and maybe overestimated his intellectual ability, and that came out in the police interviews.
When asked about Rania's whereabouts, he feigned ignorance, telling police he thought she was in love with another man and had run away.
He thinks he holds the aces. Ahmed's a clever man. He knows where Rania is. I think it makes him rather calculating, quite cold, manipulative.
Well, this is a man who likes to be in control, insists on being in control, sees it as an entitlement. He controls everyone around him. He certainly controlled the police.
We were playing a game of hide and seek here. Ahmed appeared unfazed. He thought, he was in the clear. He was quite concrete in his way of thinking. So if they can't find the body, then they can't charge me for anything. They've got nothing to prove it. But he wasn't able to think outside of the fact that even without a body, that they would have been able to arrest and charge him.
With no body, Al Khatib still believed that his plotting and planning would pay off.
I'm not sure if Ahmed necessarily had the intellectual capacity to plan in that sort of meticulous way. Though clearly he had support from his brothers, and they'd thought quite creatively about how they were going to cover this murder up, to make this as creative as possible for them to be able to get away with.
But Al Khatib's how to get away with murder plan was soon to come crashing down around him when his brother, who had been so instrumental in Al Khatib's horrific scheme, betrayed him.
His brother confided in a female friend that he'd done something awful, and he'd helped his brother to get rid of Rania. And he went to pains to explain that he hadn't had anything to do with killing her, but that she was dead and he'd helped Ahmed. He was urged by the friend to come and speak to the police, which is what he did.
On the 6th of July 2013, while Al Khatib was being questioned about Rania's disappearance, his brother admitted his involvement in helping to dispose of her body.
What this scenario says to me, with a brother turning on another brother, means that I think that Ahmed was probably an extremely controlling bully, and that would have been to everyone. So he probably put quite a lot of pressure on his brothers to be involved. They would have felt maybe a certain responsibility through family, but ultimately this brother had a conscience and this brother didn't like being controlled.
It makes you think that the boy who was once bullied by his brothers may now be in such power and control over his brothers that he was able to get them to do this.
He trusted his brother, but when his brother, who was obviously feeling very, very conflicted, went to the police, that was just somebody else now rejecting him, which is what probably started all of this. It was a rejection, and now this is further rejection.
From Ahmed's perspective, his brother had broken the code of loyalty, they had been together as a family, and at this point, his brother had made that full confession and incriminated Ahmed.
The idea that they were also implicated in it and they still turned him in was probably shocking. But there's also a sense of grandiosity that Ahmed constantly had, feeling like he was above the law, that he was better than all of these people, smarter than them. And I'm sure he thought, oh, I can't believe I was thwarted in this way.
Ahmed Al Khatib's family had exposed the killer within. Detectives knew Rania was dead, but where she was remained a mystery. They were about to find out exactly how manipulative Al Khatib could be.
He knows exactly where Rania is. He said he could take me straight to Rania. I believed him.
On the 4th of July 2013, Ahmed Al Khatib was charged with the murder of his 25-year-old wife, Rania. He initially denied murdering her, but when one of his brothers turned on him, he had to take responsibility for his wife's death. According to Al Khatib, it wasn't his fault, it was hers.
His defence eventually was that he killed Rania, but he didn't mean to. And he indicated that the jinns had materialised in Rania, and that came towards him, and he tried to indicate it was self-defence, that he assaulted Rania, which caused her to fall and hit a body against furniture or a mirror, which caused her to die. So he's very much saying it was basically cultural spirits, jinns, which caused him to attack Rania.
He says she was behaving as if she was possessed. She was coming at me. She was violent. I was defending myself, which kind of suggests as well that that's possibly what happened back when he was accused of being possessed.
Ahmed's experiences with having this so-called exorcism and having the jinns when he was a young person would have given him the idea that this is an excuse he can use to get out of the murder and to say that it wasn't his fault. He was obviously looking for any way he could to not take responsibility, and this seemed to be a ready-made excuse for him to blame it on this supernatural but completely falsified idea of spirit possession in the jinns.
During psychological assessments while in custody, Al Khatib told police that he had struggled with his mental health.
It does seem, on the basis of Ahmed's presentation, that there were additional mental health concerns and needs that were never picked up. Given the experiences, given his personality, given his emotionally fluctuating state, the paranoia and the suspicion that he was experiencing, it is quite likely that there was an undiagnosed mental health need. This also was perpetuated by his use of cannabis. It is possible that cannabis intensified some of the experience of emotions and responses that he had.
By March 2014, Al Khatib was awaiting trial for the murder of his estranged wife. He still refused to disclose the location of Rania's body to detectives.
By not disclosing where the body is, he continues to remain in control of her, of where she is, and it's just the ultimate disrespect.
The police obviously wanted to know where Rania's body was, and they asked him. Now, for many different reasons, known only to him, he didn't want the police to know where Rania's body was. You know, once you find a body, you find out an awful lot about how that person was killed and what happened to them. That might be something he does not want anybody to know. Certainly wouldn't fit with his defense. But he doesn't want to look as if he's uncooperative. So he says to the police, "I'll take you to where her body was."
By now, Al Khatib had been admitted to a psychiatric hospital.
He was in hospital because he claimed he was suffering from a psychiatric illness. I went to visit Ahmed in hospital when he was on remand awaiting trial. He was, I hesitate to say, a nice person, but he was fine with me. He didn't have any airs or graces. He seemed quite contrite. He was interested in helping. He went as far as to say he wanted to help find Rania because her relatives would want her found, and he thought it was the right thing to do.
On the 25th of March 2014, police took Al Khatib out of the psychiatric hospital in the hope he would take them to the location of Rania's body.
The investigative team had asked Ahmed if he would show us exactly where Rania had been buried. And we went in convoy with Ahmed, stopping at particular points along the A1M1 where he believed he'd buried her.
As Al Khatib travelled with the police, he began to display some strange behaviour.
His behaviour is bizarre. It is erratic. That fits with his narrative of what he is attributing the reason and the cause to for killing Rania.
On the journey, police tried to get the information they desperately needed from Al Khatib.
All the lay-bys up until this point,
Yeah.
you said no, not this one, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I think what we do is we go back and we walk down the road again.
Yeah.
Just, if you take your mind back to that night,
Okay.
and just one last look,
Yeah.
and see if we can remember
Okay.
whereabouts in the trees it was, perhaps that you went under.
Okay.
You feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling okay.
Right, good. Thank you very much for doing this.
It's all right.
It's could be a real help.
Thank you. I want to help myself as well.
He's being non-confrontational, he's being gentle, he's ingratiating himself with the police. He has absolutely no intention of telling them where the body is, absolutely no intention at all. He's wanting himself to appear as if he's being helpful.
When you buried Rania,
Yeah.
was she face down or
Face down.
face down?
Face down.
Was
Her,
she,
her legs up.
her legs up?
Her legs. It was up because it was small bird. She wasn't all lying down. Half of her lying down and then her legs up.
Was she wrapped in anything?
Wrapped in clothing or blankets or no, but her face I tried to to cover her body, all her body from cling film, filming bag,
Cling film.
cling film. Yeah,
Right.
all her body. But I did have hit them. I said, no much time, so I stopped there.
It seemed that Al Khatib was finally being cooperative.
Just remember everything, because that happened in July last year.
Yes. Yeah. Alright, so on the other side of the road, yeah, we've got the lay-by.
Yeah.
You said before, there's definitely a lay-by on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
So we're quite happy this is the lay-by.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of. Quite happy this is Right. Okay.
He looks to me like he's not in control of the situation. He's not in control of himself. Things have kind of got out of hand, haven't they? He's in a situation now with the police where he's supposed to be telling them where the body of his wife is. She's clearly not there.
Police came away from the expedition empty-handed. Al Khatib had played them. After a series of psychological examinations, doctors found Al Khatib had no mental health conditions. He was discharged from the psychiatric hospital and moved to Frankland Prison. In April 2014, he stood trial at Manchester Crown Court for the murder of Rania. During the court case, his behaviour became erratic once more.
There's times that he was like staring, and then there's times rocking. He would shout out and do actions as if he's hearing the voices. You could hear him quite often before he was coming up to court shouting. There was times that he didn't want to come up to court.
The psychological term for this is malingering, where somebody is feigning psychological illness specifically to get themselves out of something that they don't want to do. And that's actually seen as this exacerbating factor, that not only did this person do something criminal, but now they're trying to use mental illness as a way to get out of it. In Ahmed's mind, he thought he was being very clever in doing this.
On the 4th of June 2014, Ahmed Al Khatib was found guilty of Rania's murder. His two brothers were also convicted of attempting to pervert the course of justice. One received a 3-year sentence, the other brother was handed a 4-year sentence.
The jury were out a couple of days, and when they came back, they found Ahmed Al Khatib guilty of murder. I was extremely pleased that Ahmed was found guilty of her murder. I really don't believe diminished responsibility or loss of control came into the killing of her.
The killer may have been within him all along, but the thing that set him over the edge was Rania just trying to live her life and get away from him. But in his mind, that was just a step too far.
He was always going to be dangerous to somebody who was a partner, an intimate partner, who challenged him. Homicide was something that was always inside of Ahmed.
We may never know Al Khatib's true mindset or what precise moment or event released the killer within. Rania's body has still not been found.
In life, she belonged to him, and even in death, wherever she is now, she still belongs to him because he knows where she is, but nobody else does. So in many ways, he's still possessing her.